Om Gandhitipadandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvanvaditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shinvadi Paschatya Dascharane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Good afternoon. Hare Krishna. Right. So we are now on lesson 5, which is on page 30. And today we're going to make extra progress. Means we're going to cover more lessons. Last time we covered 2, and the time before that we covered 2. And this time, my idea is to cover 4. So we'll see if we could do that. All right. So this is lesson 5, page 20, page 30, and it's titled Guru Padashraya. So lesson topics: Prabhupada Padashraya, Diksha Shiksha Guru Padashraya. So Padashraya means Pada means feet, and Ashraya means shelter. So it means taking shelter of the feet of a spiritual master. So there's a writing exercise here. Hare Krishna, Ravi. Oops, I was trying to wave at you. Okay, so the Hare Krishna, Michael. Okay, so the writing exercise is list some specific ways we can develop a deep, authentic devotional relationship with Srila Prabhupada from the beginning of our spiritual life. Someone needs some pens? Okay, we have some pens and pencils. Now, last time we made this big endeavor to pass around a piece of paper and get everybody's name as they wanted on the certificate. But that paper went around, but somehow that paper didn't come to me. So because I didn't get that paper. Okay. All right, good. I got it. You need paper? Yeah, you have a piece of paper? Someone has an extra piece of paper? You have an extra book? Just writing this, the first exercise, the writing. Yeah, page 30, lesson 5. We're doing the first writing exercise. All right. Yeah, he said he wasn't going to be able to make it. You want to share something? So why do we say Prabhupada instead of Prabhupada? It's just silent, just like spell my name Balarama, Balarama, but people just say Balaram, so silent. Yeah, yeah. Some probably. Yeah, yeah. Or Prabhupada would say Arjun instead of Arjuna. Yeah, Hare Krishna, but we say Rama, but Rama, Hare. But there's certain words that are silent, or certain letter, or yeah. 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 All right. Does anybody have anything they like to share in relation to this?
Yeah. So my what I have, according to me, is reading Prabhupada books closely and paying attention to like his teaching instructions and how he wants his disciples to be.
Okay. You had something?
Singing devotional songs, morning writing, and harmonium.
All right. Means you like doing morning writing? All right. What type of writing?
Like asking him to sit with me,
Oh,
and
okay.
then like a stream of consciousness writing,
Okay.
like a devotional writing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually a whole meditation process deity worship, where you it's a mental meditation, but you call the spiritual master and you sit him down, you offer garland, and it's a whole ceremony like that. So yeah, yes,
See His divine grace in our heart, always offer obeisances to Him, read His books, the daily Guru Puja, and our own individual prayers to Him. Like right now, I'm praying for Guru. So one of
you're
the
praying
senior,
for a guru.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
And one of the and
How
I was
long you been
praying
praying for?
quite some time, and one of the senior devotees said, "Well, Krishna's really, might be a challenge to get his attention. Have you tried praying to Prabhupada?" I was like, he's like, Prabhupada might be able to twist Krishna's arm and get his attention a lot easier than you. I was like, okay. So I started, shifting that prayer in gratitude, to his divine grace and praying to him that a guru be revealed. And then also following his orders, right? Like, so, he gave instructions to cooperate with devotees, and that's how we show our love to him, is by our cooperation. So just remembering his instructions to us.
Yeah. Your book, Abhinav, is on the back top of the refrigerator in the prasadam area. All right. All right. Any other thing? Yes.
Oh, I just thought maybe by watching like some documentaries, like knowing his pastimes from like his childhood,
Yeah.
and then just or speaking to like people who really know
Yeah.
his past, could
Yeah.
cultivate a nice relationship with him, knowing somebody better.
Yeah. Yeah. There's there's so many wonderful books coming out, have been coming out about Srila Prabhupada. And there's this book that's coming out. He's got one right there, the Leelamrita. It's quite a large book. Yeah. But there's this book coming out in November. It's called Chasing Rhinos with the Swami. So, and the reason Chasing Rhinos is because chasing rhinos, like Prabhupada said, that when you go hunting for a rhinoceros, it's very difficult, apparently, for whatever reason. But so if you go out hunting for a rhinoceros, and then you come back and you didn't catch it, you didn't catch the rhinoceros, people say, "All right, we didn't think he was going to anyways, or we didn't think she was going to anyways, right?" But if you go and you actually catch a rhinoceros, then they're very impressed. So Srila Prabhupada would compare doing difficult things for Krishna or for spreading Krishna consciousness to like chasing rhinos. So Shamasundar, that was his, he titled the book that, Chasing Rhinos with the Swami. So for example, going into communist Russia, 30 years ago or whatever it was, that was like one of the chasing rhinos with the Swami. So that's documented by Shamasundar. So anyways, there's the next book is coming out. He has actually 3 volumes. The first and second already came out. And it's his documentation of travel around the world with Srila Prabhupada, the adventure of that. So the third one's coming out in November, and it's Prabhupada going to Mexico, America, London, all over. So to read books like that, it's important. And also Shama Sundar's, the way he writes is very kind of adventurous and exciting. So anyways, yeah, storytelling. Yeah, it's a whole story. So yeah, there's different ways: singing songs, reading his books, reading books about him. These are different ways in which we could become conscious of him, of Srila Prabhupada. So Those are all important. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada has a unique relationship with every ISKCON devotee. As the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, and the preeminent teacher and ultimate authority within our society, Srila Prabhupada has a unique relationship with every ISKCON devotee. Instruct new members to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. In ISKCON, devotees shall instruct new members to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and to receive guidance, training, and assistance from those who are instructing them in Krishna consciousness. ISKCON members shall choose when and from whom they wish to request initiation. So in other words, whoever wants to get initiated here in the future, it's up to you who you get initiated by. So, they must focus their attention on Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya and as their preeminent Shiksha Guru. So there's, you have Srila Prabhupada there, and then the Guru is there, the living Guru is there to assist us in connecting ourselves with Srila Prabhupada and the whole disciplic succession. After chanting the pranam mantra of their Diksha Guru, so for example, all devotees within ISKCON, gurus in ISKCON, they have a mantra that disciples chant to them. And a lot of the mantras are, you could say, generic, like for example, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Buddhale Shrimate Giriraj Swami Niti Namine. Now that's a generic mantra in the sense that all gurus have that beginning, that's Srila Prabhupada's beginning as well. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Buddhale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. So pretty much you're just saying that I offer my obeisances to Giriraj Swami, who's very dear to Krishna, having taken shelter of his lotus feet, right? But sometimes the second part of the mantra describes some specific characteristics of a particular guru. So, for example, my spiritual master, His Holiness Giriraj Swami's second part of his mantra is Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Buddhale Prabhupada Dati Priya Shri Giriraj Swami Niti Namane Suvaktar Shastra Vigya Dridha Sarana Shalane Radha Rasa Vihara Abhyam Bhakti Baschat Madine. So that means that I offer my obeisances to Srila Giriraj Swami, who's very dear to Krishna, having taken shelter of his lotus feet. He's very learned in the scripture, and his spiritual practice, he's fixed in his spiritual practices, means not wavering in his spiritual practices. And he's dedicated his life to serving the devotees. He's very dear to Srila Prabhupada, and he's dedicated his life to serving the devotees and Krishna. So here it's saying that after chanting the pranam mantra of their Diksha Guru, means one's particular guru, all grand disciples, so that means us, we're grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, if we get initiated, and future generations should at least the first of Srila Prabhupada's should at least chant the first of Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantras while offering obeisances as a means of respecting the founder Acharya. Now, of course, it says this. My humble opinion, or not so humble opinion, is that better just to chant both of Srila Prabhupada's. No need to just chant one part of Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantra. Prabhupada has two parts, right? Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Buddhale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Okay, that's the first part. Second part, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschatya, which means that Srila Prabhupada has come to the Western world to deliver the world from impersonalism and voidism, right? Means he's come to give the pure teachings of Krishna. So it says here to at least chant the first part, but I always chant the second part, and I think it's a good policy to do that, because how much longer does it take? It doesn't take that much longer, so, But for whatever reason, they said the first part. Maybe I'll Maybe I'll go to the complaint department. I'll voice a complaint. Anyways. So, all right. Now, page 31. Diksha, Shiksha, Guru, Padashraya, Prabhupadashraya. What is the relationship between Diksha, Shiksha, Guru, Padashraya, and Prabhupada? So, what is the relationship between taking shelter of Shiksha Gurus and Diksha Gurus and taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada? What's the relationship between both of those? So, what do you think, Kunja Bihari? Since you're in the class.
Okay, so the relationship between both?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Diksha Guru is one who initiates you into the Harinam mantra. Shiksha Guru instructs you,
Mm-hmm.
but also I think the Shiksha Guru could also support you in understanding the instructions of the Diksha Guru.
Yes.
So,
What about in relation to taking shelter of Prabhupada? How do those, what's the relationship between the Diksha, taking shelter of a Diksha Guru, a Shiksha Guru, and taking shelter of Prabhupada? What's the relationship between those?
um,
Kind of complicated question.
kinda. I mean,
They support each other.
yeah, it's a supporting kind of system.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Abhinav, you have?
So, Diksha and Shiksha Gurus cannot teach anything contrary to what Prabhupada has taught.
Yes.
Taught. It has to be within the same principles, more or less.
Yes. Yeah. They support each other. Just like you could say in a traditional, family system, right? Now I understand that not everything's traditional nowadays, but in a traditional family system, you could say, what's the relationship between the mother and the father and the children, right? Well, so they're all supporting. I mean, the mother and father are supporting the children. That's the relationship. So you could say, what's the relationship between taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada and taking shelter of Diksha and Shiksha spiritual masters? Well, in essence, it's Srila Prabhupada and the Diksha and the Shiksha gurus working together to help that soul. So, and like you said, the guru, the Diksha guru, the Shiksha guru, they don't say anything different from what Srila Prabhupada says. But it's an overall system, you could say, spiritual system to enlighten the soul, right? Reawaken the soul's nurturing system. Because you could say, oh, why don't you just take shelter through the Prabhupada? Well, we already kind of discussed that a little while, some time ago, but because the idea is, although Srila Prabhupada is so powerful and worth taking shelter of, we need some assistance in taking shelter of him and understanding him, and in general, just being nourished, our spiritual lives being nourished. And therefore, you have Diksha Guru to help nourish us spiritually. And then you also have Shiksha Guru, also help nourish us, as well as Srila Prabhupada. So, Srila Prabhupada works together with his devotees to enlighten people. It's a whole, like they have a saying, right? It takes a family to raise one village to raise a child or whatever. So it's like that, right? A village to raise a child. So Srila Prabhupada, even when he was physically manifested here, he wouldn't always be personally nourishing everybody, so to speak, on a daily basis spiritually, but he would have his senior members of the society helping other people. Therefore, you have GBC, therefore you have temple president, therefore you have senior devotees, therefore you have gurus, Diksha gurus, therefore you have Shiksha gurus. It's a whole system. So that's how it's connected. But it is, anyways, yes. Ravi Tejas.
I have a question. So, suppose if I take, say, I selected a Diksha Guru and I got initiated, but the Diksha Guru over the time, like he's kind of changing Prabhupada's teachings. Like, say, now there was some people who are say like twisting his words and brought this Ritik system and all. Then,
What do you do?
yeah, then what I'll do?
Well,
Because scriptures say that we need to follow the words of Diksha Guru.
well, it's we're gonna get in. Well, did we? Okay, that's in lesson 11, rejection of a spiritual master. But in brief, now there's like philosophical deviations or misconceptions or things maybe we just don't agree with. Like, let's say our guru, he opens a school, and there he like and then there he has a bunch of people teaching yoga, the physical yoga, right? And whatever reason, let's say Prabhupada didn't do that. It's true, Prabhupada didn't do that. So we say, oh, well, Prabhupada didn't do that. Why is he doing that? And aside from that, he's charging people to do that. Why? Of course, there's things like that, and sometimes devotees have differences of opinion on how their guru is preaching, maybe, or teaching, or trying to spread Krishna consciousness, or their understanding of it. So it is an awkward situation. So therefore, best to try to, choose wisely who we get initiated from. Of course, you said what happens if over time. I mean, I know some devotees like that. Over time, their guru was a particular way, and then over time, he kind of changed. But they still respect him, and they still see themselves as disciples of that person. It's just a little, yeah, they may have some disagreements or something like that. Anyways, this is a very, very complicated thing. So, but a lot of the times it doesn't happen, so you don't have to worry so much. Okay, but we'll also get more into that in 11. So, okay, so this is chart here. A disciple of ISKCON should take shelter from 3 sources: Srila Prabhupada, Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Guru. So we take shelter of these 3. Sometimes a Diksha Guru is not present always. Therefore, one can take learning from an advanced devotee. That is called the Shiksha Guru. Shiksha Guru does not mean he is speaking something against the teachings of the Diksha Guru. He is not a Shiksha Guru. He is a rascal. As such, a devotee is ultimately delivered by Sri Krishna, acting through a combination of various manifestations of his mercy. These include, but are not limited to, the Chaitya Guru, means a guru in the heart, Srila Prabhupada, the Guru Parampara, disciplic succession, one's Diksha Guru, other Shiksha Gurus, the holy name, Hare Krishna mantra, Shastra, scripture, and the 9 processes of devotional service. Spiritually mature managers may be the main Shiksha Gurus for devotees who are not their initiated disciples, and such relationships are to be fully encouraged by the initiating spiritual masters. Within these cooperative elements, Srila Prabhupada, as the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all members of ISKCON. All members of ISKCON for all generations are encouraged to seek shelter of Srila Prabhupada. All members of ISKCON are entitled and encouraged to have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada through his books, teachings, service, and his ISKCON society. All right. Okay, so this is lesson 6, selecting guru. All right, the qualifications of a bona fide guru, selecting a guru. So if you're looking for a guru, what are you looking for in a guru? And then if you're not looking for a guru, you could at least think theoretically, what would you be looking for in a guru? So that's a writing exercise. Yeah, however you want to. What? Yeah, what are you looking for in a guru? All right, Shukri. Since you're praying for a guru, we want to hear what you're looking for.
Right.
I might be able to help you
Phenomenal.
find your guru.
Hare Krishna. What I'm looking for in a guru, I'm following what I hope are the instructions that Krishna provides in the Bhagavad Gita. So it might be a tall order, however. I try not to deviate from the supreme. So I'm seeking a fully self-realized being whom has seen the absolute truth and has seen God, Krishna, face to face, and whom is truly in the line of disciplic succession and able to bestow upon me the knowledge of the absolute truth to ensure that I become fully God realized and go home back to Godhead.
All right.
In this very life.
All right. Well, how are you going to know? How are you going to know if you meet him or her?
Krishna's in my heart.
Oh, yeah?
And we have teachings from His divine grace. We
Yeah.
also have instructions that were imparted by the Supreme Beatitude himself to Arjun on the battlefield of Kirkashkar.
Okay. Do you have anybody in mind? Who
I
you,
have
who
just,
you might accept
I have
for
someone in my
initiation?
heart. I have His divine grace in my heart.
I mean, do you have anybody in mind
No,
that you're thinking of?
no Prabhuji, no Guruji.
Okay. All right. Well, I think what you could do is you could look up, I'm sure you've already read the Nectar of Devotion, but you could look in the Nectar of Devotion and there's 9 symptoms that a advanced devotee has. And you could try to find somebody with those 9 symptoms. That's good to do. Like, for example, one of the symptoms is they don't waste any time. They're always engaged in Krishna consciousness. Another symptom is that they have a great attraction to hearing and chanting about Krishna consciousness. Another one is they're very humble. Another one is they're very goes on like that. So you can try to find, because in other words, those are practical things that we could see, even without ourselves possibly being on some super realized level or something anybody could see. So in other words, I'm saying it's very practical. That's what I'm saying. So who is this self-realized person? Well, these are practical things that anybody could see, that we could see. So all right. Yes. Yes, please.
So, is being a guru a full-time job in the sense that you are living like a monastic lifestyle, like you aren't involved in the material world having some other kind of work? Or how does that work?
Okay, thank you. Well, there's for Diksha Guru, for those who are giving initiation to devotees, one could be like a brahmachari. Like I'm a brahmachari. I'm in the brahmachari ashram. One can be a brahmachari, but generally there's not a lot of brahmachari, gurus who are accepting disciples. And yeah, brahmacharis, yeah, we're not working for money or anything like that. So it's monastic life. So. But one could also be a grihasta, means like a householder. Like for example, Vaisheshika Prabhu, the one that you saw on Laguna Beach. He's a guru, Diksha Guru, and he has many disciples. But he's also married. So yeah, and he has disciples. So he initiates. I mean, he's not working now for money. He was doing that in his early life, but he does have a wife, and he's initiating disciples. So, but generally, yeah, it is a full-time engagement, and generally, I've seen that devotees that are married, they don't work, or they've retired, and then this is their full-time engagement. But a majority, like 99% of the gurus in the world at this particular moment, Diksha gurus, are sannyasis or renounced monks, monastic living, like our Bhajanarayan Swami. He's a Swami. There's many Swamis in the world. So they're like in the 4th stage of life. It's like the renounced stage, traveling, and sometimes they stay in one place as well. So yeah, it's their full-time engagement to act as gurus and to help their disciples and teacher. Yeah. So, all right. Anybody else looking for anything specific in a guru? Nice, nice smile. Nice white smile. What else? Good voice, right? Nice, beautiful
Yeah,
voice.
he has some vocals. You know.
Vocals. You can
Go
hit
the
the high,
kirtan, yeah.
hit the high notes. Hit
Without
high
the
notes.
harmonium, you know. I said if I was looking for a guru, I would want an individual who's very learned, but at the same time understanding.
Very
Just-
learned.
yeah.
So
Like he
learned
knows-
philosophically, but also understanding.
Yeah,
means-
like they can know a lot of shastra and like a lot of like scriptures, but they don't see like both sides of the coin. Just
yeah.
like,
They have to be caring.
yeah,
Yeah.
very kind-hearted and like
Yeah.
caring, and then somebody who's also not, how do I say it, who's strict but does let certain things kind of slide, like who won't let me fall off the kind of the path and just be like,
Yeah.
oh, like easygoing.
Easy going.
Yeah, no, not somebody.
Oh,
who's
not easy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, somebody who's strict, kind of. Yeah, who's
All
very
right.
direct, and then does
Direct.
Yeah,
Okay.
because as a spiritual master, I would want to take directions for him and not like
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a nice relationship with him, and also somebody who's local in a sense where who's I could just kind of reach out and just be like, oh, here. And I know some of them kind of are far, and some people have gurus that travel, or they don't really see like the gurus as often, and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's a whole. And then somebody, I don't know why, but I feel like sometimes somebody I know doesn't really like diminish their qualities if they have a lot of disciples, like
Yeah.
1,000, and then somebody who doesn't really have as much as disciples.
Yeah.
So I would want that family line of god brothers and sisters. I would want to see what they have to say about their guru, and then
Yeah.
see how that cultivates in them. Thank you.
All right. Got a lot of qualifications there. Can I help it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's certain gurus. Like there's two gurus in the world right now. One's Jayapataka Swami. There's a place in India, West Bengal. There's many. Of course, India's like super packed, a lot of people, but West Bengal, there's a lot of people there. So he's got a lot of disciples. He's got like Prabhupada told him he should initiate 50,000 disciples, which is a lot of people. So he's initiated, I don't know, 20, 30,000, something like that. So we kind of joke that he's like, I mean, I say it sometimes. He initiated half of Bengal already, Actually, one time he was on a helicopter, and somehow the helicopter, it was going over India, and it had to like make an emergency stop. So he stopped the helicopter, and then it was like in this village, And all of a sudden he gets out of the helicopter, and one of his disciples are there. Like this random village, Oh, Guru Maharaj, please come to my house and we'll feed you lunch. And this whole thing. She was just like randomly there. It's like, he's initiated a lot of people. And then you have Radhanath Swami. Also, so you got Jayapataka Swami, he initiated the most. Then you have Radhanath Swami, he also initiated quite a few, 10,000, 15,000, something like that. You have gurus who initiated very less, like Mukunda Charna's guru. He's Mukunda's like his 12th disciple, because years ago Jayadvaita Swami didn't want to initiate anymore for whatever reasons. My guru also I asked my god sister, there's this whole disciple I don't know, database or whatever, it keeps their names and where they are and all that. So I asked her, I think he had like 500 or 800, something like that. So, but it is a consideration because sometimes devotees feel that, oh, my guru has so many disciples and I'm just like a face in the crowd or something. They may feel like that. But some, they get initiated, oh, my guru's there and he's so great. And although he has so many disciples, I get to see him, hear him sometimes, and maybe serve him sometimes. So that's good enough. Yeah, so it really depends. But there is a niceness of, being able to get close. So, okay. Um, so the qualifications of a bona fide guru, the main qualifications is that they teach, or that they know scripture, that they teach scripture, or yeah, the spiritual text, and that they live by it. So as Dravida Prabhu says, right, learn it, and then live it, and then give it. So they've learned it, and then they're living by it, and they distribute it. Those are the main things. And that they're fixed in the absolute truth means that their senses are under control, their mind's under control, they're fixed on the spiritual platform. So these are the different qualifications. Detachment, they have to be detached. Guru means someone who's detached from the material world. Means somebody who's not whipped around by different considerations like, oh, if this person gives me a lot of money, I'll flatter them, right? I'll accept this disciple because she's a doctor and she'll be giving me lots of money. This is not a thing a guru does or supposed to do. It's a guru is supposed to be above all that stuff. Like one time, Srila Prabhupada, he invited some very wealthy people. Prabhupada met with very wealthy people actually sometimes. So he met these really wealthy people in Mumbai. Mumbai has a lot of money actually. Just whatever, not that it matters. So he was meeting with them, and then Srila Prabhupada would sometimes speak quite strongly. Means the guru also means like heavy, means to kind of take whatever thing that's in our heart, they take it and they just, negative things or materialistic attachments, they cut it. So he was speaking to these people, and Prabhupada was being quite heavy with them, quite strong. And then when the people left, the devotees, they asked Prabhupada, "Oh, Prabhupada, you were so strong with them." And then Prabhupada said, "Well, what am I supposed to do? Just because he's a rich man, I should flatter him?" He says, "I have to tell the truth." So he wasn't swayed by money or by whatever. He was above all that. So guru has to be like that. They have to speak the truth. They have to tell the truth. They have to be detached, right, from all types of materialistic attachments. So, and then here, Vacho vegam manasakroda vegam jiva vegam radapasta vegam etan vegam yo vishaheta dira sarvam epimam prativim shashyat. So this is the nectar of instruction. Srila Prabhupada translated this, Upadesha Rita, verse 1. So these are the qualifications of a guru. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So someone could say, oh, well, what's the big deal in controlling these urges, right? It means if somebody has not, it means that if a guru has not, means a guru has to be on the platform of controlling these different urges because they have to be fixed on the spiritual platform, which means they have to be transcendental, above all this. Like, it's a huge thing in religions nowadays that the religionists are being criticized for being hypocrites. Huge thing, right? All types of scandals. When a religious figure, in whatever tradition they're in, commits some abominable activity or materialistic activity, right? I mean, if the president, right, cheats on his wife with whatever, it's something like that. It's a big thing, right? They're writing about in newspapers, and it's if an ordinary person, whatever, people don't really talk about it so much. People don't really care, right? So much. as much as they would for the president or some other religious figure. Of course, the president's not a religious figure, but a leadership position. So this particular verse here, Vacho Vegamana Sokro, they've controlled all of these urges. They're above all of these things. They're transcendental, and therefore they cannot be seen, or they're not hypocrites, which is very important, because people, when they want to take shelter of a guru, when they want to they want to follow somebody, they want them to be, especially a spiritual person, they should be above all this. So this verse describes that. Yeah. Which practically it just means purity. The guru has to have purity. Purity is the force. And if somebody doesn't have these things, then yeah, they just shouldn't be a guru. Or you could say if somebody doesn't have these things, we shouldn't accept them as a guru. We should say, I'm not going to accept this person as a guru. They have to have these. Because this means that they're above cheating. They're not going to cheat us, right? It's not going to like, oh, I'm taking instruction from this person. And then this person turns out just to be a greedy, angry, greedy, licentious person. It's like, well, why take initiation from this person, right? So, anyways, and this another very important quote. Prabhupada would quote this all the time. The second, Tadvigartam Sagurum Eva Bigatchet Samitpanya Shotyam Brahmanishtam. This is from Mundaka Upanishad. Prabhupada would quote this over and over and over again about the qualification of guru. To understand these things properly, one must humbly approach with firewood in hand. Now, of course, this was traditional when people were starting fires a lot more, right? Now they just turn on the heat, but the principle of service. With firewood in hand, a spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. So the spiritual master has to be fixed in his determination and in the absolute truth. A bona fide guru does not impart some self-styled, concocted knowledge. His knowledge is standard and received from the disciplic successions, parampara. He is also firmly fixed in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahmanishtam. These are his two qualifications. He must have heard the Vedic knowledge through the disciplic succession, and he must be established in service to Krishna, Supreme Lord. He does not have to be a very learned scholar. Oh, pretty interesting, right? But he must have heard from the proper authority. So in other words, a spiritual master knows the essence of things, right? Like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's guru. This person was just like materially a genius and spiritually as well. A scholar respected all over India. And he took initiation from Gorkishore Das Babaji, who from the external platform was very simple. He was just chanting all day in a village, in the forest practically. And it said that he was illiterate. It said he could hardly write his name. But great scholars would come to him and ask him what he thinks about Krishna consciousness, this and that, because the idea is through all of his chanting, all of the knowledge was revealed in his heart. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur came, and he wanted to take initiation from Gorkishore Das Babaji, this very humble, simple mendicant out in the forest. And then Gorkishore Das Babaji said, no, I said, I tried to accept some disciples before, it didn't work out, so I'm not going to accept you. He said, I accepted them, and then they left, so I'm not going to accept you. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was just like completely crushed by this. And he was thinking to himself, either this person, because so many people wanted Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as a disciple. He was so qualified in so many ways. So Gorkishore Das Babaji was thinking to himself, or Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was thinking to himself that either this person is extremely puffed up, like proud, or he has something that is immeasurable, like spiritual treasure that is immeasurable. Of course, it is the second one. But then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said about Gorkashordas Babaji, he said that so many people were impressed by him, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but Gorkashordas Babaji wasn't impressed at all. In other words, he was only impressed by somebody's devotion, not anything else. So that's how a guru should be. It's not that the guru is needing a bunch of followers and a bunch of disciples and all this type of stuff. That's not with my spirit, my guru. One of my god brothers who got initiated somewhat recently. We were somewhere in America, and this god brother of mine, he wanted to ask my guru if he would accept him as an aspiring disciple. So then they met and they spoke, and he asked that question, will you accept me as aspiring disciple? And aside from that, this god brother of mine, who's now my god brother, he was telling him different things about his life, this and that, so many different things. So then they wrapped up the meeting, and my guru was having lunch. I was there as well, and I wasn't having lunch. I was just kind of, anyways, help serving him lunch. And then this friend of mine, he started telling more about his life to Giraj Swami, more about his life. But he never answered, my guru never answered the question whether he's going to accept him or not as aspiring disciple. So my friend kept on telling him about his life, right? So then my guru, he finished his lunch. He got up. He walked outside of the house because he was getting ready to go to Dallas. We're in Houston. He was getting ready to go to Dallas. So he got in the car. All the devotees were gathering around him, as well as my friend. My guru got in the car, and then he said, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And then he just left. And he didn't even answer. He didn't answer the question. So then my friend was just like, his mind was just like exploding, because for him it was like a huge thing. Like, will you accept me as aspiring disciple? Because aspiring disciple means it's a very important point, actually. You accept as aspiring disciple, and the guru says, okay, I'll accept you as aspiring disciple, which means that in about 6 months to a year, I'll give you initiation. So it's a big step. It's kind of like if somebody says, will you marry me? And the person doesn't answer the question. It's kind of takes so. So then he was like really disturbed, actually. My friend was like really disturbed. So I was trying to explain to him, I was like, well, I mean, maybe you should have, like, I don't know, asked more humbly or something, or maybe it was too casual, like, And then he said, "Oh, what was I supposed to do? Like, get on the ground and start crying, or what? Like, what was I supposed to do?" I said, "Well, maybe that would have been a good idea." But so he's really disturbed, and then some time passed, and a few weeks, month, and then eventually he visited here, my guru, and then my friend went to meet him, and then my guru accepted as aspiring disciple, and then he got initiated some time ago. But my perception is that there's a possibility that my guru sensed a little pride in this person, and he was just doing a little surgical operation on his pride, make him a little bit more humble. Anyways, so that's just an example of that I could think of in my mind of, it's not that the guru's like, as soon as somebody comes up to him and says, will you accept me as aspiring disciple? He's like, yeah, sure. Immediately, I've been waiting for you to ask me. Yeah, you've been on my list, right? I mean, although it's not that generally, in my experience, like I asked for example, and my spiritual master, will he accept me as aspiring disciple? And then he said, yes. He didn't make me wait to be accepted as aspiring disciple. So, and that's my general experience, seeing devotees. The spiritual master will say yes, generally on that first. But that was an interesting case, but where he didn't. But so those are some different ideas about in relation to the qualifications of the guru. All right, so this one lists some inappropriate reasons for selecting a guru. So this is a writing exercise. Some inappropriate reasons that you could think of. See what you come up with. Would you like to share?
To gain popularity, greed, gain power in a way to not be of service, but to be selfish,
Yeah.
gain money or material. I guess that would be a bad way.
Yeah, it's inappropriate. Yeah.
Right.
Would anybody else like to add to that? Yes.
I think one inappropriate reason for approaching a guru is like if somebody's like really in distress and they want like some type of liberation, just
Well, can you give us an example of that?
yeah. What I said was like if somebody's like really in distress and they like want like liberation, like meaning like, oh, like my life sucks so bad, I need some I need guidance, and like not like the self-loathing in the sense you got it.
Like freedom from pain or something? Like you'll take initiation so you get free from suffering or something?
Yeah, it's like if I take initiation from this person, my life would just be way better, and certain things won't happen to me if I become a disciple.
Yeah.
But I think at that point you won't really think like that.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
I think an inappropriate reason would be, like, for instance, if I liked, his shoes or his hair, I think that would be inappropriate.
His shoes or his hair, huh?
Yeah.
He's got nice. His saffron's like more pink, so I like that, or more orange or something,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Mine was kind of similar to yours, but I just put clout, like just because they're really popular. So you just want like that association, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very important one because like for example, if somebody's trying to enter particular fields and trying to make impacts on a particular field, like in some circles, if you say, yeah, I have a PhD in whatever, this, that topic, then it means a lot to somebody, right? And if you go to if you go to a big restaurant, you talk to the dishwashers and say, I got a PhD, they say, oh, we don't really care. Yeah, hey, do you know how to wash some dishes? Cool, man. Here, wash this pot. Um, but certain circles or certain things that help, right? So, for example, if you're trying to enter the social media arena and trying to spread Krishna consciousness, or trying to be some figure on social media, if you're trying to or be some figure in the world of ISKCON, right? Trying to be a big speaker or this and that, you say, yes, by the way, I am a disciple of, and some big guru, and then you use that as like a leverage. That's not good. Of course, one can be a disciple of a big guru and not use their name for one's own selfish purposes. They could do it in a humble way. So, but yeah, just to get initiation, so you could have that name attached to you, that's not good. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we should accept, the guru based on their devotional qualities and their and like the qualifications we spoke about, and all these other things aren't important. It says that the guru may have some, they may have some things about them that are just not right, like materially or something. Like for example, there's one guru. He doesn't have a leg. It's like his whole leg's gone. His cane or crutches, and many disciples. But he was acting as a guru, and then there was a whole attack in India, and these people throw bombs, and his leg actually got blown off in this attack. And his response, he had a very interesting response. He said, "Oh yeah, that leg was causing me trouble anyway, so I just." He visited here one time. He's very sincere and very, strict and nice, devotee. Huh? Is he all right? What do you mean by that? I mean, his leg's gone, but he's okay. Yeah. But to not accept him on that basis, it's like that seeing a devotee in a material way. So, oh, he doesn't have a leg, so I'm not going to accept him, as my guru. I mean, we may not accept him because he may not be our guru who's inspiring us, and like that. But to not accept someone like, oh, he's very inspiring, I just feel so inspired by him, but he's like missing his, pink left pinky or something, so I can't take initiation. It's like, or, huh? Yeah. um, or to say, okay, well, I only took initiation from Indian gurus because to be born in India is a holy land, right? It's true. So therefore, somebody born in India is more qualified than someone born in America as a guru. So I just take initiation from Indian gurus. This is also inappropriate because the biggest, terrorists and Asuric, people, they came from India as well, right? Comes so many different personalities. So just because one's born in India doesn't mean that they're more qualified than someone's born in America. It's a matter of the consciousness. So inappropriate based on ethnicity, based on past, also what they did in the past, maybe bad things they did in the past, based on ethnicity, based on money, based on how popular they are, based on how they dress, right? Oh, I don't like that guru. His shirt's always wrinkled or something. You know, it's all this stuff. It's material. But the relationship between the guru and the disciple is it's spiritual. So anyways, those are some. Yes. His name is Bhakti Raghava Swami. Yeah. I forgot about these last 2 pages here. Okay, so 34, 35, and 36, the next 3 pages. Okay, steps for selecting guru. The following steps are adapted from ISKCON law regarding step toward initiation. The laws are presented in full in Appendix 5, page 72. So 1 year preparatory period, followed by a Prabhupadashaya, Diksha and Shiksha Guru Padashaya, then Harinam initiation. 1 year preparatory period. Engage favorably in devotional service. Strictly follow 4 regulative principles. Chant 16 rounds a day. Attend full morning program. That's for a temple resident. Attend morning program at home or Namhata non-temple resident. So it means to, chant 6 rounds, follow the 4 regular principles. It means rising early. A big part of Krishna consciousness is to rise early as possible and engage in spiritual activities. That's the best time. So preparing for initiation means to do that. Prabhupada Pradashaya. Focus attention on Srila Prabhupada as preeminent Shiksha Guru. Chant Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantras while offering obeisances, means while you're bowing down. Receive guidance from respective ISKCON spiritual authorities, Shiksha Gurus. Complete ISKCON disciple course. All right, so you're doing that. Now, Diksha and Shiksha Guru Padashaya. After a minimum of 6 months of following the above, one may select an ISKCON authorized Diksha Guru from amongst one's established Shiksha Gurus. Note that 6 months is the minimum period, and one may take as much time as required to make this selection. So in other words, this isn't like a, rush process where you're trying to rush everybody into initiation. However long the person wants to wait. Responsibility of candidates to choose guru by the exercise of their own intelligence. So it depends on the disciples who choose. Notify the local temple president or relevant authority. Take written examination issued by ISKCON authority. Receive formal letter of recommendation from ISKCON authority. Receive permission from the selected guru. Begin to worship that guru and chant his pranam mantra, followed by at least the first of Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantras. So when you say worship, it's like, oh, worship, you're worshiping a human being. What's going on with that, I mean, that's all that's going on in the world. People are worshiping Hollywood stars, Bollywood stars, in so many different ways. I remember I was talking to this devotee in Dallas, and before he became a devotee, he was like really attached to, I forgot who she was, Madonna or Mariah, what's her name? Yeah, Mariah. Okay, I'm saying Murari. That's a name for Krishna. Mariah. Okay, Mariah Carey. So he was really attached to one of these personalities, or maybe, anyways. So what he did is his whole room was just like pictures, of her. It's like worship, practically speaking. And he'd go to the concerts, whatever, buy T-shirts and all this stuff, listen to her music, So we're doing that. It's a natural human tendency to do that. Actually, everybody has role models, and so when you say worship, it's referring to that. It's referring to somebody who we follow. Of course, I don't think he was offering incense to Mariah, whatever, Carrie, but anyways, we do that with the guru. In addition to taking instruction from one's selected Diksha Guru, one continues to take instruction from one's established Shiksha Gurus. Communicate to Guru and local authorities if one decides to aspire for initiation from another ISKCON Guru. So if you change your mind, communicate with Shiksha Gurus about that. So it seems complicated, but it may seem complicated, but it's simple. Actually, just in communication with Shiksha Gurus means devotees who are friends and who are well wishers. We choose a particular guru and we start the process. After a subsequent minimum of 6 months, one may accept Vaishnav Diksha, means initiation. The guru is under no obligation to initiate a candidate. So in other words, it's like, hey, it's been 6 months, right? I mean, initiate me. It's a guru's choice to do it or not. After initiation, one may accept additional Shiksha Gurus with the permission of one's Diksha Guru. Personal behavior and preaching. You simultaneously perform both duties in relation to the holy name by your personal behavior and by your preaching. Therefore, you are the spiritual master of the entire world, for you are the most advanced devotee in the world. Purport. Sanatana Goswami clearly defines herein the bona fide spiritual master of the world. The qualifications expressed in this connection are that one must act according to the spiritual scriptural injunctions and at the same time preach or teach. So one has to act, follow, and they also have to teach. One who does so is a bona fide spiritual master. All right, so this was mentioned earlier about full-time engagement and so on. Whether one is a Brahmin, a teacher, right, or a sannyasi, a mendicant traveling, or a Shudra, like a worker, right? Regardless of what he is, if he can become a spiritual master if he knows the science of Krishna. So anyone can become guru. Lord Chaitanya says that every one of you become the spiritual master. Every one of you. Why one, two, every one of you? Oh, spiritual master is a very difficult job. No difficult job. Chaitanya Maha, Amara Gaya. Just try to carry out my order. That's all. Then you become spiritual master. So Prabhupada's also wanting us to become spiritual masters. Maybe not Diksha, maybe, but at least Shiksha means to know the science of Krishna, to try to share it with others. We become gurus. So how everyone can become a spiritual master? A spiritual master must have sufficient knowledge. So many other qualifications. No, even without any qualifications, one can become a spiritual master. How? Now the process is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Amara Gaya, on my order. That is the crucial point. One does not become spiritual master by his own whims. That is not spiritual master. He must be ordered by superior authority. Then he's spiritual master. Amara Gaya. Just like in our case. And Prabhupada says our case, he's referring to himself. Our superior authority, our spiritual master, he ordered me that you just try to preach this gospel, whatever you have learned from me in English. So we have tried it. That's all. It is not that I am very much qualified. The only qualification is that I have tried to execute the order of superior authority. That's all. This is the secret of success. All right, a few more. The Shastras enjoin that before we take a guru, we study him carefully to find out whether he can surrender to him. We should not accept a guru suddenly out of fanaticism. That is very dangerous. The guru should also study the person who wants to become a disciple to see if he is fit. This is the way a relationship is established between the guru and disciple. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sanatana Goswami is directed that the spiritual master and the disciple must meet together at least for 1 year, so that the disciple may also understand that here is a person whom I can accept as my guru, and the guru also can see that here is a person who is fit for becoming my disciple. Then the business is nice. So therefore, the process is before accepting guru, one must hear him at least for 1 year. And when he's convinced that he here is actually a guru who can teach me, then you accept him guru. Don't accept whimsically. So to hear, right, for at least a year, to hear regularly. Okay, the message of how we accepting the message. The scriptures recommend that both the guru and the disciple place each other under strict scrutiny before mutual acceptance, since even ordinary household items are tested before acquisition. Test trial. It is only an unfortunate fool who will fail to go through a testing period in the selection of his true spiritual master, who is the best friend of the living entities. The point is that one must not bring upon himself the calamity of having to reject his spiritual master. If one is prudent, he can avoid such a situation. It is imperative that a serious person accept a guru in terms of the Shastra conjunctions, scriptural injunctions. Jiva Goswami advises that one not accept a spiritual master in terms of hereditary or customary social and ecclesiastical conventions, like we were discussing earlier. One should simply try to find a genuinely qualified spiritual master for actual advancement in spiritual understanding. It is the personal responsibility of candidates for initiation to correctly choose, by exercise of their own intelligence, a particular devotee as spiritual master. Candidates for initiation should accept initiation from a guru only after developing firm and mature faith in that devotee and his ability to take them back to Godhead. Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru are the authoritative references to apply and ascertain the level of advancement of a devotee. Receiving official ISKCON Guru approval signifies that the devotee successfully completed the authorization process set forth in ISKCON law, and that in the judgment of certain senior devotees, the candidate measures up to the standards and guidelines given in ISKCON law. However, such approval is not automatically be taken as a statement about the degree of God realization of the approved Guru, and is not intended to replace the intelligent discrimination of the candidate. So we have to have faith in the Guru. Means this person could, teach me and guide me, right? And if we don't have that faith, better not accept. Means like firm, better not accept, just wait if you're not sure. Because no need to accept. I mean, it's just like fanatical or fanaticism or sentimental or something. So, all right, does anybody have any questions about any of that?
Prabhuji, like, in this process, when we started Krishna consciousness, like there are so many.
When I started or when we
like
started?
when we
Yeah.
now when we are beginning, and also we see very powerful devotees, like Prabhupada disciples or subsequent things. So if we are continuing in Krishna consciousness by like aiming to get initiated by one guru, but unfortunately guru leaves his body,
Yeah.
like our aspiring guru leaves
Yeah.
body, then
What do you
will-
do?
Yeah.
Well, what you do is you take initiation from another guru. Yeah. But that happened. I mean, I know somebody that happened. They told me recently that they wanted to take initiation from somebody that guru left. So there's nothing you could do besides just take initiation from someone else.
Suppose if I get initiated and guru passes very recently, like within 2 or 3 months or so, then
Then he's still your guru.
okay.
You don't take reinitiation. Can you close that door, please? You don't take reinitiation. You just, that's your guru. Although he left, it's still your guru. And then you work with your Shiksha gurus. Yeah. Yeah. So all right. So lessons, yes, you have something? No, okay. Anybody else in relation to that? All right.
Just so we could get an idea, how did you come in contact with your guru? Like, how do you like search out for him and you realizing that you want to take shelter in your guru, or in your experience?
That's confidential.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just joking. Um, well, he would visit here regularly in Los Angeles as well, and I would see him in these places. And I didn't know he was my guru to start off with, but my mother, she actually was inspired by him, and she asked him for initiation. And he accepted her as a sparring disciple. So when I would see him, he would say, "Oh, how's your mother?" I said, "Oh, she's fine." And but yeah, I wouldn't really talk with him much or anything like that. So one day, this brahmachari, this is all quite brief because it's a long story, but I'm summarizing. But this brahmachari, the temple devotee, he gave me a picture of him, of Giraj Swami, and I put it on my shelf in the ashram. So then devotees were asking me, "Oh, you want to get initiated by him?" And I said, "No, I just have the picture." And then this devotee told me, "Oh, you should email Giraj Swami. He likes to hear from the book distributors." Because I was distributing I was trying to distribute books at that time, Prabhupada's books at the colleges, other places. So then I emailed Giraj Swami and I told him that I have some questions, life questions for him, this and that. And he said, um, "Yes, I'd like to meet you in person or speak on the phone about these topics." But he said, "I'm getting ready to go on a trip to India and Europe. So we could try to meet by phone before I leave." So I gave him some times that he could call. And of course, I probably wasn't there because I was, But I didn't talk to him. And then he was in India and he said that, he emailed me and he said that I still like to talk to you and so on. So eventually we exchanged some more emails, and then he said that we're going to have this japa retreat in Joshua Tree, chanting on beads. So quite a few devotees went out there, maybe 50 devotees, and I went out there with my mother and Dravida Prabhu and other devotees, and he was there, and others were there. So the idea is that we were going to spend some time there and talk or whatever, right? And so I was there, and there's a lot going on, and I didn't see him. I mean, I didn't speak with him the whole retreat. It was like a 3-day retreat. And I remember one day he was having lunch, and then after his lunch, he has these fennel seeds. This kind of helps. So I walked in and I brought the fennel seeds and I put them on the table there, and he just kind of smiled. Anyways, I walked out. And but then at the end of the retreat, we're all getting ready to leave. And I was very impressed by him, how he was dealing with devotees, how he was speaking, just his personality. I was very impressed, by him. I was thinking in my mind, oh, this is, very, beautiful devotee. So anyways, I was there, then kind of like the whole room cleared out. People just kind of naturally walked out, and he was in there. And then I was waiting to speak with him, and then he came up to me and he like, put his hand on my shoulder, and I was crying. And he said, "Oh," he said, "what's going on? Dr. Bronson, that was my name before Bronson." He said, "Did the retreat move you?" And I was like, it's like, "Well, I just want to speak with you." So then he said, "Okay, let me chant my Gayatri," which is noontime meditation mantras. So he chanted his Gayatri. And then afterwards, I asked for initiation. And he accepted me as a aspiring disciple. There's some details about that conversation, but he accepted me as a aspiring disciple. And then a year later, I got initiated here. I have pictures to prove it. 2009, I got initiated. So that's a little bit. So yeah, I told him at the when I spoke to him in that conversation, I was saying, I have a father, and no offense to my father, but I have a father, but he didn't teach me much, like spiritually. It's true. So I told him I'm like looking for like a spiritual father, figure. So then he accepted me as a aspiring disciple. So then when we're walking out to the car, he was getting in his car, getting in the car that the devotees were taking him, and then So when he was leaving, I was like, so can I like email you, or like in other words, how do we stay in touch? Like, can I email you, or like what? And then he, he put his hand on my shoulder and looked. And he said, "Oh, whatever you like, my son. Whatever you like." So it was nice. So, and then yeah, I just stayed in contact with him, and then I got initiated, and then I've been trying to, be a good disciple. It's not so easy, but anyways. So this is lesson 7, 38, page 38. I think we could finish this one. Doesn't look like we're going to finish. It's 8, but anyways, we're trying for 4. I think we're going to do 3. So anyways. Okay, so qualities of a disciple: strictly following initiation vows, challenges faced following initiation vows, solutions to challenges, steps to rectification. The servant or disciple of the spiritual master should be free from false prestige, never consider himself to be the doer, or herself. He also could refer to she, or yeah. So he should feel enmity toward no one, should be active and never lazy, and should give up all sense of proprietorship over the objects of the senses, including his wife, children, home, and society. He should be endowed with feelings of loving friendship toward the spiritual master, and should never become deviated or bewildered. The servant or disciple should always desire advancement in spiritual understanding, should not envy anyone, and should always avoid useless conversation. So these are some of the qualities expected in a disciple. So here is the importance of initiation vows. So you have, okay, no meat eating, which also includes fish and eggs, right? And all types of stuff like that. No meat eating, no intoxication, which includes coffee and tea, like caffeine cigarettes, stuff like that. No illicit sex, no gambling. Okay, those are now. Daya means mercy. So if we don't, we don't eat meat and other things like that, then it helps us be merciful. It actually prepares the consciousness for us being merciful, which is very important. We have to be merciful to ourselves, to others. So tapa means austerity. Austerity means undergoing some difficulty for higher purposes. Like we wake up early so we can meditate. That's an austerity, right? So intoxication, it doesn't help us in the realm of austerity. It becomes difficult to be austere if we're just intoxicated all the time, right? Like people on PB, they go party till 4 a.m. in the morning or something, and then where's their meditation? When they get up at 2 p.m. or something, and then groggy consciousness, and so it just doesn't help. So cleanliness, shaucham. Shaucham means cleanliness. So illicit sex, that pollutes the mind, in the sense that, like people say, "Oh, get your mind out of the gutter." Everybody understands that it can be very polluting. Now, of course, in modern world, which is largely completely backwards, they tried to propagate and they tried to convince us in so many ways, in thousands and millions of ways, that life is all about love, and love means romance and types of illicit connections. That's what life's all about. Now, of course, there is room for relationships. It's not that there's not room for relationships, means people have whatever. People have relationships, these types of relationships, marriage or whatever. But the idea is that life is about love, but it's about love for Krishna. It's spiritual. It's about spiritual love for Krishna. And the thing about illicit sex is that it reinforces the bodily concept of life, that we're the body. So in other words, all of this meat eating, like you go to Las Vegas. I mean, Las Vegas is a perfect example of all these four principles that we don't do, right? Gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, and meat eating. Go to Las Vegas. That's all what it's about, you know. Tell the people in Las Vegas that, okay, no more illicit sex, no more intoxication, no more gambling, no more meeting. And then what is Las Vegas? You know, Las Vegas is not Las Vegas anymore. Now, people think that, oh, okay, well, I engage in these activities for my happiness. You know, this is what makes me happy. Hey, man, back off. You know, this is what makes me happy. But okay, there's different levels of happiness, or you could say pleasure. Each pleasure and happiness are different, but the thing is that spiritual happiness completely trumps all of the happiness or the pleasure derived from any of these principles. It means it's better, it's superior. So yeah, when one takes initiation, you know, they vow not to do these things, which is a serious thing, because, you know, a lot of people in the material world are attached, you know, to these things. But the thing is, if we're getting a higher pleasure, a spiritual pleasure, then there's no question of doing these things because we're feeling happy, right? People do these things for happiness. And then you have satyam, truthfulness, which is destroyed by gambling, right? You want to cheat, you want to, right? So Prabhupada's quote here, it is not very difficult to follow the four regulative principles. These things should be stopped if you want to be serious. Otherwise, make a farce and do whatever you like. I cannot give you protection. That is not possible. So you must have to follow these rules and regulation if you're serious. Then take initiation. Otherwise, don't make farce, don't make farce. That is my request. My advice is always to chant 16 rounds minimum and follow the four regulative principles. All my disciples must agree on this point. Otherwise, they are not my disciples. My disciples must follow these principles, living either in hell, heaven, or hell. So these principles, they help clear the mind. If the mind is too clouded by these different activities, then it's hard for us to practice Krishna consciousness. It's hard for us to be Krishna conscious. So in other words, they're like, following these principles are like springboards by which we jump to transcendence. It's not like I follow the four regulative principles and that's like, you know, I've reached the goal or something, but these are just meant to prepare the consciousness for reaching higher levels. All right, so now write in the below box some helpful solutions to challenges faced in strictly following initiation vows. So suppose there are some challenges. What are some solutions? Yes.
So by no illicit sex, does that mean no sex outside of procreation? Like you would only do that to make a baby?
Yeah. Well, I mean, say it depends who you ask, but Srila Prabhupada would specifically in relation to this, he would say that you know, for example, there's like a purpose. There's a purpose for everything, right? Like there's a reason there's a reason why we eat. The reason why we eat is to feel we have to, nourish the body and to live. So so everything we do is the result, or it has a purpose. So there's a purpose for the human body, and the purpose of the human body is self-realization or God realization, as opposed to just simply sense enjoyment. So keeping that in mind, the whole goal of life is to become spiritually realized. So there's certain things that don't foster that, don't help with that. So understanding that, the great sages and great teachers of India, and in the scriptures, Krishna himself, they've recommended that we do certain things and we don't do certain things for our own benefit. And part of that is, the principle of no illicit sex, which a lot of the times people may not completely try to understand the whole purpose behind sex, which there's a purpose, just like there's a purpose for everything else. And there's a purpose behind this microphone. Like, this purpose of the microphone is to amplify my voice. It's not to stir a pot of soup. I mean, I could do that, but it's not really the purpose, Or the purpose of this watch is to tell the time, right? So I know what time it is. I could take off the watch and, throw it at somebody or something, because I don't like them. But it's not really the purpose of the watch. There's a purpose. So similarly, there's a purpose behind the body, which is God realization, self-realization. Similarly, there's a purpose behind this sex idea. And the purpose is, purpose is procreation. I mean, that's the main purpose. So when illicit sex means to engage in that activity for that particular purpose, or no illicit sex means to not engage in that activity for any other purpose besides just procreation. God conscious children. That's the purpose, because the thing is,
Because I felt like that was kind of diminutive. Like, isn't that what animals do?
You think you could talk on the mic, please?
Isn't that kind of the attitude of animals? Like, animals, they just are trying to procreate, right? Like, eat, sleep, fear, procreate. So it's like, if we approach sex with that attitude, that just seems kind of diminutive, whereas sex can be used in a way that is self-realizing.
It means not just to procreate, but it means to procreate to produce children with the idea of raising them as Krishna conscious children.
Okay.
It means self-realized. It means that it means that people just don't go around like animals having children. Hogs have a bunch of children, a bunch of hoglets, and that's a success. Or sometimes people people quote the Bible, right? They say, God said to, I don't know, they quote, you gotta calm down, right? God says, create, you have dominion over the world and just go forth and procreate, and that's it. It's like, I'm following God's command. I had 10 children, and it's like that's it. And I'm training them to be little monsters, to ruin the world. It's like, that's not the purpose. The purpose is there's such a thing as spiritual family life, and purpose of sex, to get together, then they procreate, have children, Krishna conscious children. Or else there's a huge danger of somebody's consciousness just becoming hijacked by our old friend, Mr. Lust, which it just never turns out great. I mean, we're not meant just to live like that, you know. We're meant to be, you know, self-controlled humans and happy. And lust, it just doesn't make us happy. It just doesn't make us happy. If it made us so happy, the whole world would be in ecstasy right now. Because everybody, practically speaking, on the material platform is trying to satisfy their lusty desires. And the chief of those is this, you know, sex, business. And if everybody was so happy, right, fulfilling their lust, you know, lust, you know, or captain, right, lust, I'm following you, you know, whatever you tell me to do, then the whole world again would be in ecstasy. But it's not like that. The world is in a very difficult situation, largely, you know, so much depression, et cetera, negative stuff, because they're trying, they're sold out servants of lust. If they were sold out servants of, you know, I don't want to get too sentimental, but love principle, spiritual, then it wouldn't be like this, you know. So this, yeah, illicit sex, it reinforces the bodily concept of life, material consciousness. It brings our consciousness down, and we run the risk of having our whole consciousness hijacked by lust, which is very scary, actually. It's very scary, actually. People, you know, men, women, whoever, they just, you know, consciousness is completely spoiled. Like I remember I saw this guy in Ocean Beach. I was distributing books. This guy was so just like lusty, you know. I was just like quite gross, you know. And anyways, I was there and I tried to give him a book. He was like a young guy, like had his shirt off. He was kind of, you know, like very passionate and American guy, passionate. And then two women walked by. They were clearly like mother and daughter. It looked like to me. And I was trying to talk to him, and he was saying, "No, I don't need that book, man. You know, I'm happy and this and that, and you know, hey, I'm trying to fulfill my desires." And he started hitting on these women. You know, the term, right? Hitting. He started flirting with these women and trying to, you know, all types of. And interesting enough, mother and the daughter were reciprocating with the guy. You know, my mother probably would have, you know, punched the guy in the face or something. You know, but get away from me, you creep. So, yeah. So that's the idea. Yeah. You're welcome. Okay.
When it comes to, although I'm not qualified and I don't really understand much, in researching the purpose of sex, because Krishna says that he is sex according to religious principles, or
Yes.
he
Krishna
is
says that in the Bhagavad
sex
Gita.
according to Dharma.
Yeah.
So it's a profound statement, among other things. You know, Krishna says, if, you know, out of all the planets, he's the
Yeah.
sun. So, but when I was looking into, after the fact, when I was looking into
The purport.
what is the purpose of sex and family and so forth, is it grihastha? How do you say family, household, or life?
Yes. Yes. Grihastha. family.
Grihastha.
Yeah.
So there's actually a guide to grihastha. So there's actually times when the husband is to approach the wife, and the way to approach the wife, and even how to way prior to sex, how to prepare the home and so forth. So when you talk about, you know, in lusty ways, people talk about like foreplay or whatever, right? But when you look at according to Dharma, there's actually a pure fondness, an approach to one's beloved that is pure. How to prepare, how the husband prepares himself way before children, how the wife prepares herself way before children, how they prepare their home, how they decorate their home, what articles to put in the home. So it's this really beautiful guide to a householder life that I think is all but absent or completely gone. And so I came across this manual. It's a few hundred pages that a devotee put together. And, there's certain days even after menstruation for a husband to approach the wife. And if the propensity for the child is going to be demoniac or is going to be divine. And so it's rather interesting that there's scripture that really provides insights on how to approach, rather than a lusty sexual animalistic pursuit, to approach sex in according to religious principles. That's very beautiful. That's more likely to create God conscious
Yeah.
children and raise them in a God conscious way.
Yeah, there's it's called Garbhadana Samskara, that there's
Yes.
a way specifically of preparing the consciousness of the parents, before they try to have a child. And that's to try to attract a particular soul to take birth, which means a good soul or a spiritually inclined soul, rather than attracting other souls, that are not spiritually inclined. So there's a whole process of purifying the consciousness. Yeah. So, Hare Krishna. No, I mean, Krishna says, out of all, I am sex life according to religious principles, which means that persons who are devotees, who purify their consciousness and are engaged in those activities to have Krishna conscious children, I am that particular sex life, Krishna says. But in terms of, the whole Garbhadang Samskar, because samskara means an impression, and that we're leaving an impression on our minds or on people's minds. And specifically, this Garbhadana Samskar, it's actually meant for the child. A child is supposed to go through many samskars throughout their life. For example, Garbhadana Samskar is something that happens before they're born. And then when they're born, they have to go through the samskar of a name-giving ceremony, first grain eating ceremony, hair cutting ceremony, and then so many ceremonies. Eventually, there's a marriage ceremony. So there's all these ceremonies that people go through. So yeah, but nowadays in modern world, it's just like, everything's just kind of just material, materialistic, and not much having to do with knowledge or what's the purpose behind all of this. And it's just kind of like, okay, what can I do to gratify my senses? That's the main concern, practically. All right, so any ideas and helpful solutions, challenges facing strictly fallen initiation vows? I know we didn't do the exercise, but I think the time is, we're gonna be kicked out by the Sunday school.
To chant Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is, Srila Prabhupada would say that children, when they run, they fall. When they start to walk, they fall down, right? They don't automatically run, they fall. So there may be some mistakes, there may be some problems, but what does a child do? They just sit on the ground, and just, they have to get up and keep on going. And they have to have friendship, right? The devotees have to have friends. They have to get up and keep on going. They have to, be in open communication with their Shiksha gurus and so on. Main thing is just to take shelter, right? Krishna consciousness. So, all right. So there's last two quotes here. All right. If still you're unable to fulfill that promise to your spiritual master, then what is the use of calling yourself devotee and disciple? That is simply pretending. So you should think like this, that I have promised my guru this. Now I must obey him without any exception. Otherwise, I have no business calling myself his disciple. That will be your austerity or tapasya. By forcing you to make very rapid advancement in Krishna conscious understanding. Without tapasya, there's no question of making advancement. You must avoid these 4 basic principal restrictions under all circumstances without any exceptions. Of course, once, twice, Krishna may excuse. That is not very difficult. But more than that, it will become very difficult for Krishna to excuse you. And there's a great risk that everything will be lost despite all of your time and effort spent. You have asked if it is true that the spiritual master remains in the material universe until all of his disciples are transferred to the spiritual sky. The answer is yes. This is the rule. Therefore, every student should be very much careful not to commit any offense which will be detrimental to his promotion to the spiritual kingdom. And thereby, the spiritual master has to incarnate again to deliver him. This sort of mentality will be a kind of offense to the guru. Out of the 10 kinds of offenses, the number one offense is to disobey the orders of the guru. Instructions given by the guru to the disciple by the guru at the time of initiation should be strictly followed. That will make one advance to the spiritual path. But if one deliberately defies such instructions, then his advancement is hampered from the very beginning. This defying means to disconnect the relationship with the guru. And anyone who defies and therefore disconnects the relationship with the guru can hardly expect the assistance of the spiritual master life after life. I hope this will clear up this question sufficiently for you. Letter to Jayapataka, who's the Swami, who's got a bunch of disciples now. So I hope that these are additional quotes which you could read on your free time if you like. I hope that is clear enough. Lesson 7. If not, we could debrief next time. But so next time we'll do 8, 9, 10. I don't know, maybe 11. Yes, you could take it. Now, what's 13? Let's see, 13, okay. All right, well, we completed 3. We wanted to complete 4. I wanted to complete 4. We completed 3, so that's more than last time. All right, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.